Whole Foods opening up, another really good beer retailer and everything. So, and what we're starting to see now is people are coming even from Dayton to go to Centerville and kind of bar hop around there. So they'll have a pint at Chappie's, they'll have a pint at Poorhouse, they'll have a pint at Ollie's Place, and it's just one of those things, man. The rising tide kind of raises all the ships, especially in a niche industry as tight as this one in Dayton. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought, like I said, with the Dragons being downtown, and I know recently we had the law change where I think people can go in between bars with open containers now.
Right. That still hasn't. The city hasn't passed that yet, so we'll see what happens there. But and see, that's the other thing, man. There's so many good places downtown now to get a good pint of beer between all the breweries and all the good beer bars. Dayton Beer Company just expanded, built their very nice new facility. 20 freaking footsteps from them, you have the Barrel House, who opened up, who's a great little beer bar. They've got 20 tap handles and a bottle shop, and it's almost like a coffee shop, but for craft beer. Then obviously on Fifth Street, you've got tons of good places to get beer. So it's I don't want to say it's a crowded market down there, but do they really need another face? Whereas, Centerville was like, hey, there's nothing over here.
Agreed. And I would also argue that, with you guys having the retail side with the ingredients and the home brewing supplies, that's probably better suited for Centerville versus downtown.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
unless you had... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, regarding the home brewing supplies, you were asking earlier what's one of the best ways to get into learning about craft beer. And I would say the absolute number one best way to learn about beer and all the styles is to start brewing yourself. On recipes, and exactly what's going in that beer, not only do you, A, have a new skill set or whatever, but B, you've gained this new knowledge for this pretty dense topic. There's a lot to learn about beer. And by brewing it yourself, the ins and outs, and that'll help you grow an appreciation for any beer that you buy off the shelf. You can dissect it that much more.
Great point. Hey, really quickly, this is the true, real last question, because you just touched on some things that I think we could speak on next time. Okay. Sports-wise, man, what's your favorite? Are you a football guy, baseball?
I'm football, almost exclusively football.
Oh, okay. Who is your pro team?
My pro team is the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, a Colts fan. What's your expectations for him this year? Making it to the championship game last year, and just Lux in just his third year, bringing in new running back Andre Johnson comes over, wide receiver. What's your outlook for the team this year?
I think we're going to perform very well. I'm still concerned about our defense, because it wouldn't be Indianapolis if we didn't have defense. But I think we'll put I think we'll put the heat on everybody this year. I really do. And Luck is just ridiculous. He's crazy. When we lost Peyton, I was kind of shaking in my boots. But I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I'm actually a Redskins fan, so I'm a little jealous of Indianapolis Colts fans and Seattle Seahawks fans, because obviously our quarterbacks came in the same class, and right. Here it is 4 years later. I have this number 10 jersey that I really don't know how long I can plan to keep it in rotation.
Right. Yeah, that and we were looking at him for a hot minute there too, Mr. RG.
Right.
And kind of glad we didn't pull the trigger on that one.
Right. The only interesting thing is and obviously, is Irsay still in charge out there?
Yes.
So obviously they're going to get. Speaking of craft beer and mentioning his name, but obviously the team will get it done long term with Luck, but that contract is kind of going to put them right back in the situation they were with Peyton, that the defense is probably not going to have a lot of impact difference makers over there, because such a large portion of the salary cap is going to be tied up in Andrew.
Right. Yeah, yeah, you're right, man. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It really will.
But hey, man, I really appreciate you taking some time today. I know you have a meeting to get through. Hopefully you'll come back on the show and talk about some more interesting things. I think next time I'd like to talk about how to get into home brewing, if you have, some time to talk about that.
Anytime, man. Hit me up anytime. I love talking beer, love talking brewing. So, and anything to spread education. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Thanks for your time, Gus.
Hey, thank you, Wood. Have a good one now.
All right, take care.
Cheers. Bye.
You're tuned in to a one-take podcast.
All right, and welcome back to Pay Me No Mind, Hoops and Hops edition. You just listened to an interview with Gus States from Ollie's Beer Place and Tavern, Bar and Grill. Gus is a good interview, man. He's been doing this for a long time, knows what he's talking about. I guess to kind of rope back to what we had talked about before, I had, from our last pod, I had got some feedback from some people who were kind of trying to contradict some things that I had said, that were giving me some grief over some of the things that I had recommended to break people into craft beer. Gus had said, basically wet your palate with different styles at a basic level, which I completely agree with. And he had said, starting with a Pilsner. Me, myself, I said the amber and the wit, because can you start with the Pilsner? Can you start with the blonde? Absolutely. Those are the closest things to what people drink on the domestic side that you can go out and get pretty much anywhere. But, forgive me if I tried to presume your manlyhood, America. I would prefer somebody, if you're really interested in craft beer, get something that's got just a little more flavor into it. That's why I said the amber and the wit. Your Pilsners and your blondes are fairly similar to what you can get on the domestic side. There's some exceptions to that rule. But to me, go ahead and just, get your feet wet on the Adult Swim side. Okay, don't start in at the shallow end of the kiddie pool. Go ahead and see what that other side is talking about, and don't cannonball. Don't jump straight into an IPA, but see what the flavor is actually about in craft beer.
Got you. Hey, I think it was a buddy of mine put me on to a quote by Richard Pryor that I thought that was great. Was nobody and I'm paraphrasing, but this is we're into this growler now.
Yeah,
in my defense.
Yeah, we've been going a little bit,
right? But he said, nobody comes out of high school wanting to be a critic, or nobody wants to be a critic. Nobody says they want to be a critic for a living,
right?
But you become a critic. So
absolutely.
Anyway, man, like you said, I think it's great that you had some feedback, man.
Yeah, and look, shout out to Ollie's and Gus and everything that they're doing out there in Centerville. I'm a fan and a proponent of anybody that is trying to expand beer knowledge and horizon. So
right. We've been in discussion about our next guest, and we might lock that up this weekend, but we have some other people planned to come in and add to the discussion and play a role in Hoops and Hops. But we're getting ready to get into this NBA, which is the cornerstone piece of Hoops and Hops. And Greg has his makeshift.
Right. I got some scribble scrabble.
He's got an algorithm over here. But so we're gonna get into some MJ and first LeBron James. We're gonna get into a couple NBA surveys, as I said earlier, and then we're gonna close it off with the bad boys of the early 90s versus the mid 2000 Pistons after the Teal era. Yeah. So Hey, Pistons fans, get at us.
Get ready, yeah.
Hey, man.
Speaking of LBJ, right?
Right.
There was this whole thing that was released 4 or 5 days ago from when we're taping this now, about basically the idea of him sponsoring tweets for a shade under 140,000. What did you think about that? And then I'll give you some, I took some statistics and some notes down from that whole thing.
You know, man, that's the power of LeBron, and it goes to show what the everyday person that's stuck on Facebook hasn't picked up on Twitter. And actually, incidentally, a guy I got coming on for my Eastern Conference hockey contributor in a couple of weeks, he just signed on to Twitter this week, and I think he merely checked in because he's getting ready to start doing some spots on here. And I think, you know, it's an important part as you start your social media presence that you get on Twitter. I think Facebook is for that personal stuff, and over here, you know, you do your other business.
Absolutely.
And
completely agree with that statement.
You know, salute to LeBron for monetizing Twitter, because he knows it, you know, why do any of this stuff for free? We spoke, well, that probably won't get edited in, but the Compton, straight out of Compton, Ice Cube, I remember back in the day with him going from St. Ides, going from OD with NWA
right.
to St. Ides, and the minute that Cube said St. Ides is giving ends, I didn't buy any more. I never bought any more Old English 800. And I think to this day, you know, salute to LeBron. If you could charge somebody $142,000 for, you know, peddling their product, pimping their product, hey.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, look, that's marketing, no matter how you cut it. Like we talked about before, like Rakim mentioning a particular brand that you decided that you need to check out. This is no different from that. The study was done by a group or a business called Open Doors. They specialize in digital and social media advertising. They've come up with some sort of a formula that would include true reach, or the activity and overall reach and level of response and organization from particular athletes. And by their study, over the past 3 years, what they've conducted, they feel that LeBron James is basically worth $1,000 a character. Or
142 characters,
right,
times a band,
basically. And so they basically said that if you were to, LeBron James has 23 million followers, roughly. I know, something to aspire for, right? But if you were to try to get a TV spot that would reach that same net of people, it would be 5 times as expensive. And we could get into the semantics of, you know, primetime television and what that would do as opposed to the casual viewer on Twitter. But regardless, it's 23 million people. Whoever scrolls through their phone or looks at that timeline and goes back to it, they have an opportunity to see it. So that's part of what's encompassed in this study. And
you know, and 10%, 15, 20% are just gonna retweet that off of GP.
And so then you've got a whole nother net of followers off of those who are retweeting and favoriting that tweet. But the study says that most sponsored deals are between 1,000 and 2,500 per tweet. Just as a
frame of reference.
Right, just as a side note, if you've got something that you want to be introduced to the world, apparently right now Joe Flacco will put out anything you want for less than $1,000. So there's that. But
that is the same guy that said after the Super Bowl, I'm not going to Disney, I'm going to McDonald's for some nuggets.
Right, so he's about that dollar.
Right.
But they also have said that in U.S. athletes. LeBron James will be number one at that statistic. Kevin Durant will be second at